Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I thought I would do the BookTube Hoarding Tag. So, I will give you the original creator of this tag in the description box below when I find the link. I saw Steve Donahue doing this tag as well, so I thought I would go ahead and do it because it sounds like one that's a little different. Because I'm always looking out for tags that aren't just, like this reminds me of this book, and this reminds me of this book. But it's very hard. I mean, in fact, it's also hard. I find it hard to create those kinds of tags and create those tags. So I've only created like two original tags. I feel like they weren't even that good. So here is the book hoarding tag. Okay, question number 1. A book you should get rid of but have trouble for some reason, and why? And have you read it? And was it a gift? Do you want to read it? Do you have an emotional attachment? And at the moment, I could only think of one answer for this question, and that is 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas by Jules Verne. And it's not one I've had for a long time. I got it only like a few months ago, and I read it in April. I probably got it. I don't know if I got it in April. I might have gotten it in March. Like I've said this before, that my original plan was to read it during the summer, but then I was like, you know what the heck, I'm gonna read it now. I ended up being disappointed by that book. It wasn't as fun as I thought. It was one of those things where I feel like once I finally get around to the adaptations, the adaptation's going to be more thrilling than the book itself. It was kind of boring. I think the only people who would, really probably enjoy it are, people who like studying the ocean. And even then they might not like it. I don't know. But I thought it was going to be an adventure, and it wasn't really much of an adventure. It was just a group of guys traveling under the water, and they were technically prisoners, but there was a little bit of tension, but it wasn't anything super like scary. And there was, even in what I heard about the adaptation is, I've heard from other people that the adaptation is better as far as making it exciting. But if you like learning about the ocean, you might like it because there's a lot of talk about fish in the ocean and the beauty of it, and all the different types of oceans, the other parts of the world, because they basically travel. It's like 80 around the world in 80 days, but around the sea in 80 days. But I kept it because it's one of the World Classics editions. And those, I got back just in time. It started raining again. Like last night, we had this horrible thunderstorm that cut the power around like 9. But I am glad that it happened at 9 and not like during the day, because it'll be very boring and hard, just sitting there with no power. So I ended up just going to bed early, and use my little light that my dad bought me years ago to read a little bit of the book I'm currently trying to finish. But it's pretty, and I told myself that, right now it looks like my nephews are into animals, and maybe one day they'll be interested. But you know what? My sister would probably tell me, no, don't keep it, don't necessarily keep that, just because, although it is a classic in its defense. And, I think the only reason why she didn't say anything about keeping the Illustrated Classics editions is because, she didn't know if she was going to have kids. I'm sure was pretty sure she wanted kids, but who at the time, who knew was going to happen? So we had a bunch of those and got rid of those. But, maybe. So, okay. So really that's the only one I can think of. And there's no emotional attachment. It's just pretty. And I was thinking maybe my nephews or my niece might like it when they're old enough to read something like that. Okay, so question number 2. Compulsive collecting. What book or edition would you covet or dream of owning? A rare book. Signed, first edition, some other trophy finds. First I'll talk about some of the editions I like of classics. I really like those seasonal editions that have like the covers have this paper, or like those really pretty seasonal editions. They have the cover is like some kind of pastel color, and then but on it is the dust jacket is like this papery thin dust jacket with like cut out of it is an image kind of like a snowflake, like how people make snowflakes. That I think those are really pretty, but I couldn't, and then the World Classics I like, and I like the let me see, I'm looking at my answers. I really love the cloth bounds and vintage editions. But as far as signed one goes, there's only a few authors that I would love to get their signature, like a signed copy, like some of Stephen King's or Kate Warren's books. That I have, I would love to get them signed or get a signed copy. But really, I would actually want to meet that author, either of those authors, and actually get them to sign it. I would love a signed edition of a Charles Dickens novel, or even a Tolkien signed. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like Lord of the Rings. I love the movies, and but I'm not one of those purists. I'm not one of those people who's, but I do agree it would be cool to have a signed edition of one of his books, or like a first edition. There are some first editions of those that I would love to collect, but they're probably expensive. You would probably only be able to get them online, unless by some miracle you found them at your local used bookstore, which I probably won't. But yeah, like, because even as much as I'm not like a Tolkien purist, but to get a signed, even I can agree that a signed copy of one of his works would be awesome. Or like first edition of one of his, or first edition of a Jane Austen novel or a Dickens novel would be really awesome. As you can see, a lot of the collector item would be classics for me. Okay, question number 3. Safety among clutter, which that's how my desk and dressers are. They're cluttered. What books make you feel cozy? And I say there's a Dickens novel or a Jane Austen novel makes me feel very cozy, and then a more modern author is Kate Moore. Her novels always make me feel cozy. Like, they're not, there is a bit of a mystery, and sometimes you find out someone died in the past, but it's still this warm, fuzzy feeling when I read it. Even if it's tragic, it still makes me feel cozy and comforted when I read her books. And the same with Jane Austen and Dickens. Okay, so question number 4, nostalgic memories. What book has a story? How you got it? Where were you when you read it? Impact? Just explain. Can't explain? Nope, I don't have an answer for this. I don't have a story with any of my books. I mean, when I was a kid, I'm sure there were special books like Velveteen Rabbit. I got that for Christmas, but there isn't much of a story, I got it for my aunt and uncle. They left me a little message, but it's not really any story. So I don't really have anything like that. Question number 5. Don't touch my stuff. Do not touch my stuff. What book will you not lend out, or have you fear of losing? Treasure the most. Why? And like Steve Donahue, I don't lend out my books. Like, there was one, I did give my cousin my copy of Jane Austen, but I never, she didn't offer it back to me, and I didn't ask for it back, so, you know, I was like, I've been wanting, and then recently, you know, when I bought a new copy of it, twice actually, I was like, well, I want, that copy was mass market, so I want to get another one. So now, if I give books to people, it's because I'm giving to them, you know, permanently. I'm giving it to them. Like, I have a pile of books that I'm giving to Terry from Florida, and I gave and I think my cousin Mackenzie, like, owns my Twilight books now. I think the Twilight series. I think I gave it to her because she got really into it along with Harry Potter. So yeah, I don't loan out my books unless I just give them to people, and I'll just buy another copy of it. Okay, so question number 6: procrastination, anxiety, quirky personality. What book is so delicious that you've canceled plans to read or would cancel? I don't cancel plans. First off, I live at home with my parents, so any plans, like, especially now, more so now since we've moved here, my plans usually involve them. The things I don't do with them usually involve me going to, you know, the bookstore or the library. So I've never canceled, you know, plans, and I bring a purse and I put a book in my purse, whatever book I'm currently reading. See? I have this huge purse. That's why. You know, I always try to find a way to, you know, the only time I haven't is, like, you know, if it's a situation like going to a wedding, or like the times I've gone to Comic-Con type conventions, then, you know, I won't bring a book then. But although, because I read mass markets, I still have mass markets. I was able to squeeze a mass market in my little purse, even though I didn't bring a big one. So yeah, I haven't canceled plans or anything just to get a book. Now, I mean, I have, like, rushed through a book a little bit, or was determined to get it finished before company came. But. Okay, so question number 7. Oh, last question. Question number 7. It's the last one. Impulsive buying. What book did you buy completely unplanned in a whim? Why? Will you read it? Did you already get rid of it? This is another question where Steve Donahue and I agree. I can't, you know, like him, I can't just buy books on a whim. I always read the back of the book and look up Goodreads reviews and actually read them. I don't just look at the star rating, because I know that there's some people who just look at the star ratings, or supposedly there are people like that. But I can't do it, you know. I mean, the closest I come to a whim, buying a book on a whim, is I'll read the back, and even if I haven't looked on Goodreads then, I might still get it, because if it sounds like my kind of book. But I agree with Steve. There's, like, I think it's too risky to spend your money on a book without checking it out and decide, is this your kind of book? Like, I also can't do the whole blind date with a book thing. You know, the idea of that makes me nervous. I mean, granted, with those, at least they give you, like, you know, like, little hints and stuff on what the book is about. They give you, what's the word? There's a word for that when you, buzzwords. They will give you buzzwords on the book. So at least, even if you don't see the book, you can't read the description, they will, until, you know, look it up and stuff, you will still, you know, get buzzword. There will be buzzwords on the book, or like a sentence or two. So yeah, I do not do, I don't do, like, you know, buying books on a whim. But although it's funny that this question is called, impulsive buying, because not impulsive buy. I don't buy books on a whim, but I will probably buy books that that I don't absolutely have to buy. I might buy books that I probably don't need to buy. But yeah, so that is the booktube hoarding tag. So before I go, I thought I would also show you the books I got from the library. So I went to the library before the weather started storming again. I just hope the power doesn't go out again. Although there's no thunder or lightning, it's just rain, so it might be like it was last week. It feels weird because it feels like all the thunderstorms and stuff are all coming this month. Which maybe has to do with because I think Florida had hurricane or something. But I almost borrowed 4 books, but I decided to get 3 just to stick to 3 books. This time, because part of my problem is that with the library, I'll be trying to get the library books done first, and then take forever to get to my actual books. That's always my reason why I might take breaks in between library visits. Okay, so first I got Miracle Creek, which I think there is autism rep in this one. And it's about this. It's one of those books where it's about a town. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, because it's about a mother who's accused of killing her autistic son, and it's in a rural town, and it's in Virginia, too, so that's cool, it's in Virginia. That's where my sister is. Okay, so I got that. That's Miracle Creek, and I think Olive enjoyed this book, and that's, I think, where I first heard about this book. Possibly some other booktuber, but I think she was the first one I heard about this book. And then this is another one that I heard of on BookTube, Things in Jars. I heard it recently mentioned in passing by Just Kid. Oh, I saw this book. This is the author of himself, which I actually saw at the library. I keep seeing it. And oh, so she's a detective. It's in Victoria. Okay, it's historical. And there's a missing girl. And I think it's probably kind of like, what is it called? Big Fish. That's my name. Probably, excuse me. Probably similar to that with, where there's, you're in the real world, but there's a lot of magical things around you. That's Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. And then the last book I got, which I really should have put this one back instead and saved it and decided saved it to be checked out in October, but I really wanted to check it out. So, this is The Whispering House by Elizabeth Brooks. And I think it's about 2 sisters. The one sister died, and she's somehow connected to this house. And our main character has to go to that house. Yep. It's a burn hall where that is not far. Oh, actually, her sister died not far from the house. And there's a portrait of her sister at the house. So she goes there and meets this charismatic artist and his mom, the sinister and watchful woman. And her relationship with Corey crossed the line into obsession, and the darkness behind locked doors of the estate the rents to spill out. Yeah, so that sounded sounded really cool, but as you could see, I probably should have waited until October to read it, but I decided to check it out anyway. I like this cover. The blue with this house and just the leaf-like. But, you know, who knows if I'm not like I might just buy it if I find it at the bookstore or something like at BAM or the roast office. But yeah, so those, I just wanted to show you guys those. And I already have an idea of what I'm going to get next time after I return, as long as I return one of these books. Okay, so that was the book to Hoarding Tag, and that was also me sharing what I got from a little library haul. So if you like this video and want, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're interested. And if you want to do this tag, feel free to consider yourself tagged and do it. It's kind of a fun tag. It's a little different. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!